that can be a time-consuming endeavor due to the nature of the game, which, speaking of, takes us to the story section of this one. Now, in total, beating the story alongside, doing side stuff along that path, the main story took me about 85 hours. It was not a short and sweet adventure, it was pretty long. Now, unfortunately, most of the story isn't great. It has its moments, there are parts of it that I really enjoyed, there are some really big battles and stuff back and forth, and so I am not saying it is all bad by any means. However, mostly that story can be pretty weak and disjointed. It likes to introduce characters and then immediately forget about them. And this is especially problematic towards the beginning, like opening chapters, which is not where you want the story to be its weakest. So it starts out relatively strong. We're playing a character known as Cliff primarily. You'll get access to 2 other characters later, but Cliff is the sort of main character and the guy you have to run through the story with. Cliff is a member of the Greymane tribe, a tribe from an area of the world called Payloon, who is then attacked by a rival tribe called the Black Bears. They decimate the Greymanes, you barely survive, and that part's pretty good. Right after that, you spend a couple of disjointed hours at the very least going through seemingly randomly introduced quests and objectives that will eventually serve as the basis through which you establish a camp in the neighboring region of Hernand, where you can then build up your forces and try to strike back against the Black Bears while also getting to the bottom of the sort of chaotic mystery of the Abyss, which outside of your immediate problem serves as a larger backdrop of the story. I don't want to really spoil too much more than that, but again, the issue is that in the early game, so much of your objectives are just like completely disjointed from one another. There are times where the game is telling you to go do something and it has in no way introduced the what or the why. It's very like tenuous and it feels like you are just doing random stuff, and eventually that comes back to feed you a pretty steady narrative towards the end game and it gets a little more cohesive, let's say. And in those later parts of the game, it does have moments that are really cool. And so I would say this game is really more focused on exploration and a sense of discovery than it really is its story and cast. Good on you if you wind up enjoying those things, but they certainly weren't for me. Speaking of, however, I talked a little bit about our main character Cliff there.